So when you look at this, and let's put up your latest electoral map on the screen here, you have Hillary Clinton at 293 and Donald Trump at 214, and you have only 31 toss-up states. So that looks like a pretty tough picture for Donald Trump. Is that the way you see it?
Yeah, I think so. If there's one thing on that map that may be alarming to the Clinton folks now as opposed to maybe yesterday is that we've got a bunch of polls back in New Hampshire, which is a potentially important for electoral votes. And they show basically a tie, which had not been the case for much of the rest of the previous part of the cycle. However, if you're looking at small states, it looks like the state of Nevada is a state that looked a little shakier for Clinton, and polls there still show Trump leading, but the early vote looks almost identical to 2012 in terms of the partisan makeup, which I think suggests that Clinton is probably favored out there. So there are a lot of states that are shaky right now for Clinton, but I think she still has the clearer path to 270 than Trump does.
Yeah, I mean, when you go through this, if you add to the states that you have in Donald Trump's category at 214 and you add 31, you get to 245 if he won every single toss-up. So then he would have to pick off either Pennsylvania or Michigan or Wisconsin or New Hampshire or some combination of both, correct?
Yeah, that's right. And the other state that's really important to focus on is North Carolina. Of course, North Carolina voted for Obama in 2008, but Mitt Romney in 2012. That state also looks like it's very close. We lean it to Clinton right now, but if Trump were to win, I think he would carry North Carolina. And you mentioned Ohio. As we currently have it projected, this would be just the third time in 31 elections that Ohio did not vote for the winner. But I think Ohio is also very close. Hillary Clinton is going to be there with Jay-Z later today in Cleveland.
Oh, well, that should do it.
They're trying to maximize African American turnout in Cleveland, and I don't think that Ohio is necessarily in the bag for Trump either. So there's a lot of fluid things going on.
So when you dig into the crystal ball, which I did this morning, and you go into what you call the preponderance of polls, which is a look at who's been leading in each state in the period from September the 1st until the election. And you go back historically and you look at prior elections. Basically, the person who leads in each of those states over that time wins that state with extremely few exceptions, right?
That's right, and it's an important thing to think about with a state like New Hampshire. So we have a bunch of tied polls that came out just recently. But Clinton basically led every New Hampshire poll since Labor Day, and that's true, I think, in a lot of the Rust Belt battleground states, too, of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. And so if Trump were to win one or more of those states, it really would have come out of nowhere because the polling had not really indicated that until now in New Hampshire and really not ever in some of those other states.
Yeah, so there's only 3 examples over the last 3 elections where a state where a person was not ahead, essentially, since September 1, they actually won that state. And in any of those cases, did that person who flipped that one state end up winning?
Obama, one of those instances is Florida in 2012,
right.
But Obama could have won without Florida in 2012, but it got him up to 332 electoral votes, which was a bigger victory than I think a lot of people thought going into Election Day on 2012. George W. Bush or John Kerry ended up very narrowly carrying Wisconsin in 2004, but of course Kerry ended up losing the election anyway. So. Again, if Trump were to come back and win, say, a New Hampshire after trailing in almost all of the polls the whole cycle, it would be, historically a little bit different than what we're used to, but also not impossible. So is there anything,
everyone watches this thing and says it's like nothing that any of us have ever seen before. So is there a part of you that says, yeah, that's true?
Yeah, I think that's right, and I think that there still is a decent amount of uncertainty going into Election Day. I was just thinking back to 2012, and I think I probably was a little bit more confident at this point that Obama would win than Clinton now, but I also think that Clinton has been the favorite the whole time, and I think remains so. It's just that it's getting a little complicated here in the final week.